Welcome to another edition of Newsline 360 here on TVC Channel 40 on the cables Ultra TV in St. Kitts and Nevis and Tel TV network in St. Martin, and those who are watching online on Facebook, YouTube, and tvcplus.live. I'm your host, Andre Huey, and on this edition of Newsline 360, we discuss Black history. Recently, here in St. Kitts, we had the 89th anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising ceremony, which was held in Buckley's. And it was organized by a group of concerned citizens, the Ras Iya community, the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order, and others who see the importance of preserving that aspect of history. And to talk to us about that and matters pertaining to Black history is Ras Iya from the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order. Good day, Ras Iya. Thank you for coming.
Greetings and give thanks, Brother Hewitt, for giving us this time to enlighten the public about what was taken for the 89th anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising, that commemorates our ancestors in this tribe that they made in 1935.
Yep. How important it is to have this commemoration, this ceremony?
Giving thanks for the ancestors and the Almighty, we are able to see it's very vital for us as a people in the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order and people who are part of the shores of St. Kitts and Nevis to enhance this historical event, to commemorate our ancestors in what they have able to enhance their plight against the struggle that they were facing in the 1935 and before. For 1935, able to bring some greater relief of what we are facing in the time after 101 years of the Emancipation of Proclamation that was signed in 1834. So within this aspect, we find it very deep and concerned to our people that we must be able to establish and enhance the history of the Buckley's Uprising.
Is it just your organization that puts this on, or is it a collaborative effort?
Well, we work within the aspect of the community where we ask for financial support, but the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order is who basically make it the initial to have this celebration be commemorated for the Buckley's Uprising.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the event because I had another engagement, but based on what you saw this year and what you saw the previous years, are you satisfied with the turnout at the ceremony?
I would say right now at the moment we have seen it as a disregarding to our ancestors, because when people lay their life on the line for you to have a reward in this kind of environment, what was not easy in the old environment, what they face up, you must be able to show some kind of gratitude and respect to those people who put their life on the line, because they did not only did it for themselves, but they did it for the future of their generation. So in the essence of these kind of statements that you just outlined, it's very heartening to see that we don't see the support that needed to be. And one of the things that we will usher in for is that a national holiday impact to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
So on that date, you'd like to see a national holiday to commemorate the Buckley's Uprising?
Yes, on the date itself, because it's just not on the 28th, but it's on the 29th. It emphasized more into the aspect of how the rally went within marching right through the island of St. Kitts.
I want you to talk to us, and I think we hear it every time when we talk about the Buckley's Uprising, how significant it was, not just to St. Kitts Nevis, but the wider Caribbean, because it sparked the labor movement across the region. Just for viewers and those who may not even understand that, if you could just speak to that.
I'll give thanks. One of the things we have able to realize of the struggle of the 1935 uprising movement is that when the planter class them was initially bringing in more involvement into the production growth, there were some of the estate owners who were refusing to give a bonus on the what they call it at those times as a copper or a penny or shilling. And when you look at it, the discussion was leading up, and some still was not eminent to give that increase. So our parents them find it difficult to see that you're working so hard and not seeing an increase, that even not just for the wages itself, but the conditions that we're facing up until those times. Even of the infirmity rate of birth of babies were dying in a primitive time. So it was a hard struggle, not an easy struggle, a hard struggle. So commenting on these kind of things was not very outlining to say everything was easy, but it was willing to see that there was some changes could come in these effects at these times, especially what lead up to chain unionism that wasn't even allowed in the 1930s. Because in the early 1930s, there was laws against the trade union movement, so that where you see the Workers' League was established in 1932, and there from 1932 come on to 1935 that will be the condition need to be better, and then after 1935 the uprising, there was a mine commission that gave a proper assessment of report that outlined the condition and the concept that was well built within the value of the European empire.
What about government support? Have you gotten commitment? I mean, I know the Member of Parliament for the area would have spoken at this ceremony, as well as the Prime Minister would have indicated that $1 million has been allocated to build the monument. Where are we with government support? Are you satisfied with what you're hearing so far?
Well, they're getting some good levy at the moment, so just not on the government approval alone. I'm looking at the whole entire private sector and government initiative to be packaged within this movement. Why I say that, because when you look at some of the initial grounds that are able to achieve within the formation of what the plight open up to, you're able to give more revenue changes from the instance of how once ago was planter class owning all the capital. Now we see now things are entailed within diversing to the economical stability to our federation. So I look at it not just from a government standpoint, I look at it from a private and government standpoint to pursue the initiative stage within. So everyone on board shall be able to know, well, all right, the 28th of January coming up, we'll have the initial grounds to support these grounds of our ancestors that they've brought for us to achieve in this time in the 20th century. So it's not just government approval alone, I see it full-heartedly, but the whole entire private and government initiative should be backed behind it.
What is going to be at that site in Buckley? Because I know the idea is to have a monument, but is it just going to be a monument erected, and where exactly in Buckley?
I'm glad you asked a question of that, because the initial stand where enough things have to play out, not just by the moment of putting up a memorial park, as it indicates from the representative of the area and the administration who have approved it in cabinet decision. I find it that is more grounds that we like to get the land, but we like to see more impactful to the whole entire island, that where things have occurred, not just in Buckley, but other parts of the island, have some kind of recognition be restored into those areas part. These things occurred, especially in Brighton Estate. You go down into Sadler's area, other estate in them areas occurred there. Some initial incident occurred in that area. And when you come down here, we have other parts like Challengers areas. These are things that we need to foster to make sure that our young generation have a clear view of what the uprising was meant in 1935.
All right, you're watching Newsline 360. We're talking Black history, and more specifically the Buckley's Uprising. Our guest is Ras Iya. We'll take a break and be right back.
I love the cable because they really look out for different groups of people. I'm on the creative pack, and they provide services tailored and dedicated to people just like me.
Introducing St. Kitts and Nevis's newest TV channel, Television Caribbean, TVC Channel 40 on the cable's Ultra TV. TVC promises to deliver the finest in television broadcasting in St. Kitts and Nevis and the Caribbean, with some of the best local programs in news, sports, and entertainment. Join us for Insights, where we delve into the lives of our guests.
Let me see what happens if I put this to it. Big explosion, like, okay, note to self, don't do that again.
Or get in-depth analysis on Newsline 360. We have sports, entertainment, and inspiration. It's all here on TVC Channel 40 on the cable's Ultra TV, on Tel TV cable network in St. Martin, and on our website www.tvcplus.live. TVC Channel 40. See the difference.
And we're back here on Newsline 360. I'm your host, Andre Huey. Our guest is Ras Iya from the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order, the organizer of the Buckley's Uprising anniversary ceremony, which was held recently at the Buckley site. Before the break, Iya, we were talking about the monument that was supposed to be built. Is there a specific location? Because I know there's a business establishment there, and there were talks that where the business is where the site was, where the monument was supposed to be. But now that kind of has to be changed.
Not basically. We're trying that there's some negotiation taking place from what the minister, the representative of the area had stated in his deliverance to his speech. He stated that there are grounds that they are covering to people who are located in the area are willing to give up the position of the area that they are occupying at this time, and to find some other way that they can be relocated. And there is negotiation looking to go with the owner of the establishment. The food center is owned by Coraggio. So these are the grounds that are on the move right now, and I hope that we see these things dissolve before the year complete, so we can have some stablement going forward for 2025 for the 90th anniversary of the Buckley Uprising. So to say the location of the area, we want the whole land that was occupied within the
so
time.
You want Mr. Coraggio to give up his whole land?
We say we like to get the whole land if we can. We just have to work with how we see things. But the initial level that we like to really entail to have this commemoration of the Memorial Park, there is a billboard displaying on what can be taken forward to enhance this movement, because there is a committee now in place, and the committee, as the representative of the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order, are part of the committee, and we are working to make sure that these things that we are looking forward to enhance bring tuition for our generation. So looking at these grounds here, that the billboard that is displaying, besides of the one that we have pertaining about the history of the Buckley Uprising, will able to show what moment we are looking to create and have in bringing our people to the awareness.
How long do you think this project is going to take? That's the estimated time for it to be completed?
Good question.
Will start and complete.
Good question. I hope that you don't stay too long and too quick to rush something. We have to make sure we have a good instill in how we're bringing out these movements of the Memorial Park, and what we are going to emphasize about the history to educational levels of the Buckley Uprising, so people and the world at large will able to have a better view and understanding of what the history details.
Let's kind of shift attentions a bit to Black history, generally speaking. The Buckley Uprising certainly is a major point in our history here in St. Kitts Nevis, but there are several other things that would have happened. Can you just outline some of the things that people tend to ignore, or maybe we don't pay much attention to? Buckley Uprising is certainly a major one, and so we commemorate that. But what about the other areas, the other things that we should be focused on?
Basically, St. Kitts got so much. St. Kitts and Nevis itself have a lot of history, as small as the two islands them entail in the Western Hemisphere. They have some vital patterns that can bring better means to our people. But one of the things we people do not do is do study and assessment research in gravitating what the history is that we are based in our shores as a small territory that we are claimed to be in the Western Hemisphere and an independent nation. The history of, look at the Marcus King of the Woods. We tend to bypass that. And Marcus King of the Woods was one of the a vital part in our history who fought against plantocracy and the rule of the plantocracy that was outlined in the Federation at those times, during where we know where it was St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla of the territorial grounds were controlled by Britannia, as you call it, Britain. And then you have Beta Douglas, you have John Africa. These are people who are able to entail the part in the Isles of history for St. Kitts and Nevis, where you see, not even in the books, these things are detailed about these people. In the school books or the curriculum.
That's another issue, because there's a lot of history that's not being taught in our schools. What do you think can be done to help to inculcate or infuse some of the history, some of our history in the history books at schools?
But it's a good question that you asked, because one thing I find since 2022, since this administration has been taken to office, the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order find it fitting that we have dialogue with the Ministry of Education, which is now the Deputy Prime Minister of our Federation, and to this day we don't even have that audience yet. but we are not giving up because we find it fitting that these things need to approach in the curriculum, because when you as a member of the Caribbean curriculum board, you must be able to make sure your people history be a part entailed within their essence of the educational pattern. And if you're not doing that, I mean you're just going there for lip service, and we don't want it to look like it's a lip service, but we want to make sure, because other countries of like Guyana and Jamaica, they have the history put it into their curriculum, and the children they know about the 4 parents, even if you don't see a full entail of them echoing it, but they know about the 4 parents because you see the background of what they do. The work ethic show that they have some respect between the struggle of the people.
But what about, because there's the issue of the fact that we don't have enough on the island to memorialize that aspect of our history, apart from the National Heroes Park and the monuments of the national heroes and the one of Bradshaw in St. Paul's. There's not much around that we can look to. You mentioned Ghana, for example. In Ghana, there is a huge statue of coffee in Georgetown. We don't have any such thing here in St. Kitts Nevis.
Yes, that's why you see there is a lot of misquote within how we're going to be able to channel. Let me look at Independence Square, what once called Palmer Square. Now, there was some national grounds to have a commemoration of a monument erected in this square to honor our ancestors during the transatlantic slavery. And some people went up and row against that and said we cannot remove that monument in this square at this local point in time. So that to show you that.
So what monument would you remove? There's only the fountain there.
Yeah, that is what we're looking at, to remove that.
Oh, to remove the fountain, and why not have it somewhere else in the park?
Because
the park is huge.
that level was outlining. There was the area where the slave trading was taking place. You see, but there is other levels that you just outlined. Why not put it in another place? Gold and Wakupa, we're not far from right now at this location point where the proclamation was signed. You see, these are details that we can work with, but to say the kind of people who we have in the driving seat, we're not able to push these things, because as I could remember when the drive was outlined within getting erecting a monument for transatlantic slavery. Blessed memory to our brother Inez. He had able to outline, we have a hard task up again when we're looking to get this thing here done. And he will live to tell, because to this day we still ain't seen the monument.
Is the opposition coming from the regular Joe, regular people like you and me, people of African descent, for example, more specifically? Or is it coming from a different sector of the society, in your view?
In my view, I think it's have a double standard system that need to change, and once that change, our people will have a better clearance in how to respecting that is value for them, and not look at just a party line concept that is now issued in that you outline. You say only monument we're seeing is about national heroes, like the political parties, the representative them from Nevis Singers. But on that approach, we don't see nothing else beyond that. So that to show we people who wasn't really looking to honor the people who sacrificed for them. Now, political parties now gone in, and now they are not taking the GIF to get a clear view of how to align the history. We had a better position in the time under the farm administration led by Dr. Timothy Harris, and I don't know what really turned out that make it not be, because he made bold statement at the National Hero Park that when he established the committee that was led by the farmer member for number 3, Akila Bayo Nisbet, and when we see how the gongs had covered there, we find that it was a lot of talk, but not the power pushing to maintain this here. So as you go back only, it's not just a government initiative. We need this drive to carry on, the whole sector come on board, both government and private sector, and left your egos outside the door, because you're dealing with things that initially is to stand for your nation and not for your personal gains.
Yeah. We're going to end this segment, and we'll come back, we'll talk some more Black history. You're watching Newsline 360. We're talking to Ras Iya from the Nyabinghi Theocracy Order on the importance of preserving our culture and history, especially at this time of Black history. We'll be right back after these messages.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website for program schedule.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
I love the Caribbean because they're real. What you see is what you get. No hidden agenda, no tricks, just real, honest communication.
And we're back for the final segment of Newsline 360. We're talking Black history. I'm your host, Andre Huey. My guest is Ras Iya. Before the break, we talked extensively about the fact that we don't have much monuments in St. Kitts and Nevis commemorating Black history. But let's even go to an event that we commemorate every year, which is August Monday, Emancipation of Slavery. There's only one event, major event we have, which is at Brimstone Hill. Is enough being done? And I'm not even talking about government now, because as you rightly outlined, it's not just a government responsibility. Is enough being done by the cultural organizations and people in general here to celebrate even Emancipation Day? Because August Monday is mostly, you know, take the day for the family, we go to the beach, we may go to Nevis for a culturama, but that's about it.
Yeah, I would say enough could be done. Only thing I find where we need to change the spectrum of how we climax the emancipation movements of August the 1st. Only thing that I have looking to engage is to be involved with other people, not just Rastafari, other people who is of conscious of movements within what the struggle is about, within what the emancipation meant, and what it really create for us as a people. And when we look at it, there is some lot of hurdles that we have to face, but we are willing to pursue these things, because it's not, as I stated in the last discussion just there, it's not about a personal gain, it's about our future of our generation. And if you don't equip the young generation and the enhance of what they have achieving today, of the struggle that was before, because in the early time, when you look at how the slavery movements was in, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the wider part of the Caribbean and in the Americas, it was something that drove the European nation to the fullest extent of wealth. So if we could have driven them to fullest extent of wealth, and now we are a free nation of people, how come we cannot put our own self into that aspect, not being rich, but sustainable, and creating values for our young generation, that they can have some sense of purpose to know what to be respected and what not to be respected.
Yeah. There is a school of thought that, especially in this discussion, and we see, you know, everything that happens in the US, we tend to adopt it here. And there's a discussion, there's a rift in the United States when it comes to talking about slavery. You hear of revisionist history, that they're trying to revise history and maybe even remove slavery and all of that aspect of American history. And then you may not have that kind of discussion, but what you tend to have is people saying, well, slavery is an old thing, you know, it's happened hundreds of years ago, we should move on from that and you know, look to carve out our own destiny as a nation and as a people. What do you say to that?
Well, I would like to say, I would like to look at it in a different angle, because when we say slavery have gone, look in the formation, who control the economical powers? Is there any black man or black woman who can detail how things are created into this world? No. But they have black man and black woman in positions You see? So on the aspect of it, to answer your question, we have to come in the format of saying we will bring back everything, but you must able to have some kind of urgency of what was taken in those times. So you will avoid the pitfall that is coming at this time. You see? So these are the grounds you have to prepare. This preparation make us know who we are and where we're going. Now I would like to touch at something. You're looking at the monuments, them, especially the Billstone Hill. Who you think built that? Not a white man. It's black people build that to save white people from the extinction of another white person. But they're building for white people to get safe from the other white who was trying to involve in dominance of that time. But looking now to see, we as the people don't want to enhance our own development to safeguard our approach to life. So we're trying to look for someone else to try to push us into that dimension. We cannot unless we work to enhance, and not to say, just to say for black people, but for the world, because this world is complex of different races, and we cannot confine ourselves like how the planter class they did do in the era of the oil seal within controlling. We have to bring things that can create a safety net for everyone, whether you're black, you're white, or whatever color or race you possess.
Well, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on and for discussing with us. And we will have further discussions. So reparations is one of the things that we certainly have to talk about. And thank you to the viewers for watching Newsline 360 here on TVC Channel 40. I was your host, Andre Huey. Join us again next week, same time, same place, for another edition